Welcome everybody to our final session in this series. We've had some remarkable leaders with us to help us unpack what it takes to build our doTERRA businesses, and tonight is not going to disappoint. In fact, we have two amazing leaders tonight. So we have Mark Garrett, who is our upline. For those of you that are on my team, Mark is our Blue Diamond upline, the first Blue Diamond in our direct upline support. And he has been a remarkable player in my formation. I'll never forget one of the first conversations that we had when I was a baby doTERRA person. And I remember my husband was on too, and he asked us, he said, "What are your limiting beliefs?" And we weren't very familiar with a lot of personal development language at that time. And I remember that conversation where we began to unpack where our blocks were and where we needed to grow. And we just, honestly, he might not realize this, but it was a pivotal moment in not only our doTERRA business, but in our marriage and in our ministry. And we've drawn so much inspiration from them. So he's a remarkable leader, very thoughtful, and incredibly supportive. So I encourage you to get to know Mark, and especially at convention, if you have a chance, ask me to point him out or track him down yourself and thank him on behalf of our team, because we wouldn't be here tonight without them and their support, and his beautiful wife, Jen, as well. And they have, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, 8 little ones, right? Ranging but 15 to newborn, something like that, I think.
Exactly, yep.
Yeah. And we've enjoyed hot springing together, and we've enjoyed times on the beach down in the Dominican Republic, and I consider them friends, so it's a real privilege to have you, Mark. And I've got my little one in the background too, so you might hear some little squeals. But with no further ado, let's go ahead and welcome you, Mark, and we look forward to hearing the wisdom that you have for us tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the opportunity to visit with your team and beyond. And thank you for your leadership in coordinating this and pulling this together. I think it's a reflection of one of Chantal's unique abilities, and that is she has no barriers in terms of who she communicates with and who she visits with. And I love her inquisitiveness, and one of the things that I think about as I consider my business and its success, and those of that I've had the pleasure of working with, is the gift of teachability. And there is no question that that is something that Chantal thrives on. She understands the power of humility, and the power of that humility to be transformative in her life and in the lives of those who she touches. And it's a privilege for me to be a part of what she's created here. It's a privilege for me to be a part of this team with you and to be a part of your support network. I enjoyed immense satisfaction and fulfillment in my life personally from being able to be a part of this culture and this community of like-minded people, and to be able to learn and work together. And I would rank my experience in getting to know Chantal and Peter high on my list of pleasures in that experience. And so thank you for the opportunity to visit a little bit tonight. I wanted to start by just sharing a brief reference to where I came from. Some of you may have heard me talk to this before, so bear with me, and maybe you'll learn something new or have a different insight today from where you're coming from. But I want to share that with you, one, so you understand me, but two, more importantly, so that you can hopefully see yourselves through me and gain understanding and insight from the reference of my business. And I realize we each have unique things that we've experienced and a unique path, but within that unique path are principles that I believe are universal, that we can all learn from and benefit by. And I love being able to kind of look back at our experience and glean those little gems of wisdom that have come out through our experience and the success that we've been able to enjoy as we've done doTERRA. And just to give a little background on where I came from, I graduated in '99 in information systems management because I thought computers were the future and there would surely be good opportunity in computers, and it just made sense to go that direction. Only problem was I didn't love the idea of sitting behind a computer and programming, and I should have probably figured that out during my schooling, but it didn't quite get through, and I thought, gosh, I'll just bear with this and get through it. As it turned out, I worked in the tech industry for a few years, and then the .com bubble kind of popped, and that impacted the industry significantly, and I was one of those that was laid off, and ultimately the company that I was with folded not too long after that. But as a result of that, I kind of tried to get on my feet. My brother was doing home loans, and I thought, hey, there's a place that I can jump in and make some money and at least make ends meet to provide for my family. Then that was important to me. As I did that, I felt the life getting sucked out of me. And I realized that what I was doing day in and day out for 8 hours a day, and then a commute of a half an hour or more each way, was not me living my life to the fullest. And in fact, along that way, at some point, my wife said to me, as she saw me working in my little 10 by 10 cubicle, or it may not even have been that big, she said, "This is not you. This is not who you are, and this is not who you were meant to be." And fortunately, I received that message in the way that she intended it, and that was her seeing something more in me than I was currently living up to myself, and seeing new possibility. At that time, I was also being introduced to some questions that were getting the wheels in my brain turning. Questions like, what would you do if money were not an issue in your life? What would you choose to spend your time doing? What's something that I could do from home? Because it was important to me to be around my children. And what's something that I could do from home to provide for my family? And if I had time freedom, what would I choose to do with that time freedom? Because you can only vacation so much, even though vacationing is awesome. There are things that I believe each of us needs to find within ourselves, and that is purpose and mission and meaning. And the hard part about those questions coming up for me at that time was I didn't have the answers to those questions. And they were like a thorn in my side. It was almost like having that awareness or that possibility in my mind was like a splinter to me, and not having the answer and just feeling the frustration and thinking, well, what if those things were possible? What if I could live that life? What if I could live in a state where time freedom was available to me, and I could make choices and be deliberate in the life that I live, and ultimately lead by example to my children. As Chantal mentioned, we now have 8 children. Being an example to them of what is possible, rather than just talking to them about living their dreams, was I actually living my dream. And in the midst of that, I made some financial decisions, made some investments, trying to do what I could to get out of the hole that our life currently was in. And as a result of those financial decisions, we got in a deeper hole. And we got in thousands of dollars of debt as a result of some, you might say, poor choices that I made financially. And we were feeling loaded, burdened with the weight of this debt that was now hanging over us, and the challenges that came along with that as we started to get behind on payments, behind on our car payment, behind on our house payment. And it was like we didn't want to even answer the phone because most of the calls that we were getting were from debt collectors. And it was just a heavy, depressing space to operate in, particularly for me being one who owns that role of being a provider for my family, and just feeling like I was ultimately failing. And it was in this space that Natalie Goddard introduced us to essential oils, and I thought they were weird. We hadn't had much reference to essential oils to that point in our life, and I just thought, what is this? But fortunately, we had enough trust established with Natalie that we were willing to take a look at them for what they were. And to be honest with you, the story was something like Natalie calling me on the last day of the month. She said, I need some volume. I want you to buy the most expensive kit. And she wisely called me and not my wife. And I said, well, Natalie, if you think this is the way to go, then I'll do it. And she even said, hey, if you need to return anything or want me to buy anything back, I'll even do that for you. And of course, we didn't know what we had or what the value of it was at the time. And my wife jaw hit the floor when she found out that I went further in debt to buy this oil kit. And it wasn't long after that we drove over to Natalie's house and said, here's our box of oils. Which ones are you going to take back? And we randomly selected through them and took out the frankincense and the whatever and said, hey, we don't know what these are. Why don't you buy these back from us? But what we did do at that point is we said, let's just use the oils that we have. And rather than going to the traditional medicine routes that we've lived our lives doing, let's use these oils first. And it wasn't long before we realized that there were, in fact, answers in the oils and what they could be for us. And the wheels started to turn, and we realized that if we didn't know what the oils were, that others probably didn't know what the oils were as well. And that didn't mean that they weren't worthwhile. It just mean we didn't know them prior to that. We didn't know the value of them. We weren't educated. And thankfully, Natalie opened her mouth and helped us to see some of the possibility of what they could be. And then we came to realize through our own experience that there was something there for us. And then we jumped right in full force. And for us, that looked like having maybe a class a month for 2 or 3 months. And as you can imagine, our business was flying at this point. And by flying, I mean we signed up maybe 1 or 2 people at each of those classes, and we were excited about the opportunity to share with a few people, but they were dabbling in the business. So being slow learners, I decided to try and cut corners and get online, and I found an email list, and I sent out to this email list of 10,000 who were interested in natural health and offered them doTERRA and an incentive with checking it out. And 20 people responded of the 10,000, and 1 ultimately signed up. And I'm thinking, hey, this is a way I can shortcut this process. The problem is our business is work. Our business is a business. And it's not about shortcuts. It's about paying a price. And that's a price that each of us must pay from wherever we come from to become that leader that other people will respond to, that other people will be inspired by. And I can plainly see, looking back in our approach to the business to that point, that we were not inspiring in the way we were going about our business. We ourselves were not inspired. And so there was nothing for anybody who we were sharing with to be inspired by. Up a pattern or schedule of activities, so it wasn't like we would do one and then we would go ahead and schedule the next, but instead we scheduled out a sequence of things to do. And for us, we were too scared to talk to friends and family, and so we said, let's go do booths, let's talk to strangers, that sounds more comfortable. And we found some inexpensive booths that were going on some city days around the area and other types of booths, and we said, let's figure this out. And of course, we weren't experienced in doing booths, and so we were excited about the idea of having a raffle and giving away prizes and getting people's names and lists of names to call back. And then we realized, kind of from falling on our face, from failing forward, from that experience of stepping out there and saying, now let me step back. And here's one of those principles. Let me step back from what I'm doing and look at it. What is working and what is not working, and what can I do to adjust my approach so I can more fully get the results that I want to get. And that idea, again, echoing back to my initial comment about teachability, that's where it comes, that power to say, I can learn from my experience. I can receive the lessons that are coming through my experience. So if I'm not hitting the nail on the head, what do I need to do? What can I adjust to get more of what I want? What fears can I face to get myself out there more so that I'm more inspiring to people? And interestingly enough, as we took that business approach, it wasn't too long before we made that decision that we had a person or two start to respond and say, hey, what are you guys doing? What's that about? And the nice part about doing booths is it became a great platform to then invite them to step into with us, and became a great training ground for them to learn how to have several conversations about oils in a short period of time. And it wasn't long of doing that before we realized that despite not knowing much, we were experts compared to most people. And we really did have answers that mattered for people. And it was very affirming and validating. And as we went along, it was the end of the summer of 2009 that we hit silver for the first time. We had a few leaders that had started to show up amidst the handful of people that we had enrolled at that point. We hit gold in December and had our 1,500 bonus set up. And things were really starting to get exciting for us at that point, where I was able to quit the insurance job that I had at that point and jump into this full time. Now our budget was skinny enough at that point that we were able to just scrape by, and ultimately we hit platinum in March or April of 2010 and hit diamond in July of 2010 and haven't missed it since then. And it was just, when people have a fire to follow, they get excited and it helps them to see new possibility in their life. The same way the Goddards had done for us, we saw that their influence of just going about it, being an example to us, showing us the way of what was possible, helped us to see our own possibility through them. And we said, hey, if that's what this looks like, we share, we educate, we invite, and we duplicate. And we keep it very simple because we find that simplicity duplicates really well. And that approach has been very effective for us. And the idea of connecting with people as we've gone along to say, where are you coming from? You know, as Chantal mentioned, you know, what are some blocks that you're facing that you want to be aware of? Because if there's limiting beliefs or things that you're coming up against despite your best efforts, you're going to struggle as long as those things are there in your view, if you will. It's going to cloud your view. It's going to cloud your possibility of who and what you are and what you can be through this. And our life has literally been transformed through what doTERRA is. We have the opportunity to travel with our children on doTERRA trips. I've taken my children to Europe a couple times. I've been to Guatemala on a service trip with one of my children. My wife's been to Ghana, Africa on a service trip with one of our children. This idea of hands-on learning and life experience of working from home, all these things have come to a reality all these questions that you remember me asking have been answered through doTERRA. And we didn't see it at first, and that's why we dabbled in it. But as things became clear to us and the lights went on about what this could be, we became excited because we saw this future that was out in front of us, a possibility of what we could create. And we didn't know how to do it. The how didn't matter nearly so much as what was out in our forefront in terms of what we wanted to create. And guess what? When you have that clarity, when you have that vision that gets down at your core root level, the how comes. The how comes. You'll figure it out because you know where you're going, and it's somewhere that matters. And you know when you've latched onto something that is significant because it will move you. If you haven't gotten clear on why you're doing this and what your purpose is in conjunction with this, you'll struggle. You're going to be waiting to be told what to do. You're going to be showing up like an employee. And I can promise you that it's very difficult to inspire anybody showing up like an employee versus somebody who said, I am becoming a leader and I know what that means. I'm going to push past my fears. I'm going to put one foot in front of the other. I'm going to learn as I go. And I'm going to step into that role as a leader. Well, I wasn't that leader when we started. I mean, I told you that broken place that we came from, and I had to recognize some of the limiting references that I had, of which one was, well, success is for other people. It's not for me. Or I can't be righteous and successful. Like I need to stay humble and poor. And these kind of things. And I realized that was just creation that was validating the current life I had been living to that point, and I simply needed to choose something different. And one thought that I really want to impress on you tonight is the importance of identifying with your mission in this. So doTERRA can be a great way to make money, but if that's all that it is, your experience of it will be short-lived. You're going to maybe work hard for a while, and then you're going to burn out, and you're going to get frustrated. And you're going to kind of say, you know, hey, if my team members would just do what they were supposed to, and you're going to get caught in that frustrating loop. Versus, I am doing what I was put here to do. I am living the purpose and mission through doTERRA that is unique to me and what I have to give on this planet. And I would invite you to consider or ask yourself, what is your purpose? What are some of your unique gifts? What are the things that people compliment you about? And get in touch with those things, get in tune with those things, and then ask yourself, does it apply to doTERRA? Can it be more fully realized through doTERRA? Because as you connect at that root level, nobody's going to be able to stop you from creating success in this space. Because you are about your mission and purpose. And people will naturally be inspired by how you show up as you embrace that and you bless others' lives through that. And this is a very satisfying space to operate in. At some point, as my wife and I look back at our business, we realized that there was just this space where doTERRA was no longer a thing on our to-do list. doTERRA was part of who we were and part of the whole of what our life was and who we wanted to be. And so it was just like eating or breathing or going to sleep. see their new possibility. And it's something that speaks to me at such a core level, this opportunity to serve in this way, not only with my family and children, as I've mentioned, but now with friends and new friends that we've made. It's very satisfying, and it feeds itself when we're operating it that way. It's not a grind. It's not a have to. It's, this is who I am. This is what I'm here to do. And so what I want you to ask yourself, if you take away one thing from what I share with you tonight, it would be, ask yourself, what are your gifts? What is your personal life mission? And does it relate with doTERRA? And I'm open to the fact that it doesn't. And if it doesn't, then go do the thing that is. But I have found that doTERRA is pretty universal, because when we get beyond ourselves and we take care of our own needs, we naturally have a desire to serve and bless others and mankind. And doTERRA is absolutely a brilliant way to do that. So we each have that opportunity to identify with and understand the leader that is inside of ourselves. And say, how do I become that leader? How do I get past the blocks that are coming up, the challenges that would otherwise stop me or set me back? How do I create real momentum in my approach so that there's a fire burning bright that other people can get lit up by? That's when it gets really exciting. And that's the opportunity that's before us. I calculated recently, by approximate numbers, I think there's something like 120 million households in the United States. If I'm estimating, I would say there's about 1 million households that are in doTERRA in the United States. So if we say there's 120 and one out of the 120 already has doTERRA, how much opportunity is available to you? A whole wide ocean. For those that have the eyes to see, opportunity is available to you. And that doesn't mean there won't be challenges. That doesn't mean there won't be no's. I don't know how many people we personally talk to over time, but it's far more than actually enrolled. And if we look at our numbers, we would say probably about 1 out of 20 who we have enrolled has become a leader in our business to impact. And we just keep moving forward. We share with everybody, and we give special attention to those who share our vision and want to be a part of this with us. I don't want to go over my time. I think I had a half an hour. I'm not sure if there's anything else. I know there were some other questions you had, Chantal. Anything else you want me to say before we switch over to the amazing Sarah?
Mark, that was incredible. Thank you. I appreciate it. I feel like you were able to give us so many practical ideas through your own journey, as well as just, boy, pure inspiration. I was really very moved by that, even amidst the squirming baby. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. And just so you know, I'm part of your support team. If there's anything I can do to support you on your way or to be a guide or a reference, please feel free to reach out to me. We are in this together, and that matters to me.
Wonderful.
I'm grateful to be able to do this full time now. So
thank you again, Mark, very much. And I know that we have a handful of questions that kind of popped up. So maybe at the end, everybody, once we've heard from Sarah, we'll continue conversation amidst ourselves. Mark, if you have to go, we understand, but we know how to get a hold of you. So we will reach out if we have continuing questions. Thank you again. So we're going to go ahead and turn our attention now to Sarah Jansen. She is a cross-line leader, a presidential Blue Diamond, and unbeknownst to her, she has also been a big player in inspiring us to just dig deep and build from a place of authenticity. Her story and her journey has just been really something we've discovered since the Dominican Republic. So we were deciding and planning on traveling the country, and little did we know that had been done already. So we started following Sarah and Matt and their journey. I had a chance to talk with them briefly at leadership down in Orlando and hear them, just their story of overcoming adversity and doing it from a place of freedom and joy and passion and conviction and living their own dreams out loud. And so, Sarah, I'm really, really thankful for you taking the time to join us and giving us a little glimpse into how you've built your tribe. We love this whole just spirit you've brought to doTERRA, and we'd love to hear from you and your insight on how to launch our own little empires in the midst of our efforts here that seem so meager sometimes.
Yes. Hello. Well, thank you for that lovely intro. It's been nice to even just have a little chat with you down there, and it's fun to just watch how our own personal journeys, all of you, not just ours, but you guys don't even know how you will affect someone's journey in not just doTERRA, but in life. Okay. So always be willing to share your story with people so that you can be an encouragement to them. So I'll just start out because some of you guys don't know me and don't know our background. So I'll just give you a little bit of that. I'm married to an amazing man named Matt, and we've been married for 16 years. We have 3 girls, and they are ages 12, 7, and 4. And my background, pre-doTERRA, I have a degree in photography and graphic design, and I'm a military girl. I was Air National Guard for 6 years, and I was a photographer. I had one of the glamorous military jobs. Where it's like, that's a job in the military, a photographer, really? Like, yes, who do you think takes all the cool photos, right? So I got to do that. Came from kind of a military family. People never believe the military part of it if they've seen pictures of me. Previous years, I had 7 years, I had long blonde dreads all the way down my back. And so people get really confused as to who is she? I don't know. I don't get it. This military non-authority, I don't get it. So I've lived about 20 different lives in my short life, and I like it that way. I like to try all the different things, and I love that quote that says, try to fall in love with as many things as possible. That definitely defines my life. I follow what I'm passionate about. Some of you guys may have seen my blog. I've blogged for about 10 years. You can find me there at nestinggypsy.com. And I did that pre-doTERRA, but I didn't really use my blog to build doTERRA that much. It's a common question that comes up. We definitely did it just like everyone else, just face-to-face, knee-to-knee across living rooms and on the phone and build in that way. We've spent 6 years on the road full-time in an RV, and much of that was pre-doTERRA. And then we settled in Boulder, Colorado in 2010. And through our years in Colorado, we purchased a house, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But my friend was using oils, and kind of my oil story goes that she would not be quiet about them online. She just kept yapping about these oils. And I'm like, what's going on with this doTERRA thing that you're doing? I don't get it. I didn't know how to say it. I said, well, just throw me a kit, right? I'll just give you my credit card number. Just give me a kit. She said, okay, well, for sure, you probably just want the cheapest one. And because you want to save your money. Of course, knowing what I know now, I'm like, what? Why didn't I get a bigger kit? But she got me the family physician kit. And I got it, and I barely used it for about 18 months. If people came to my house and they asked what it was, they'd be like, oh yeah, you have a stomach ache or something? I'll get that out for you. But I wasn't really doing much with it. And I did put a post on my blog like, hey, doTERRA, one time. And I got, a handful of people who thought, this would be fun, but I didn't follow up with any of them. I had someone who bought a natural solutions kit, and 30 days later texted me or messaged me, was like, is there something else I need to know about this stuff? Do you teach me how to use it? I was a hot mess, you guys. It was horrible. So I was not building. I was just, once in a while I'd throw it out there to people. Hey, you should get them too. But I was not supporting them or anything. So fast forward to us buying our house. And some of my job with working with my family had transitioned a little bit. and we needed more money, like a whole mortgage payment, lot of money. And I thought, well, this doTERRA thing, my enroller had been telling me, oh, you'd be great at it. You should really do this as a business. And it's like, I'm too busy. At that time, we have a little hobby farm. I'm like, I got to feed the goats, and I got chickens, and I have a llama. I have things I have to be doing, right? I didn't really understand that doTERRA could be meshed in with my real life, right? I loved what you said about just that it became part of who you were, right? I didn't understand that yet. So I thought that I had to compartmentalize, and it just didn't make sense to add another thing. Okay. So we started to think about maybe that would work. And along that time, something was posted in my feed. I don't even know, I was in a group somewhere, and it said how to make your first 2,000 in doTERRA. I'm like, that's what we need. That's what we need. Okay, I'm going to get on that phone call. I knew nothing. And I get on this phone call, and I just knew, like, something in me. I just like, this is it. This is what we're supposed to be doing. And I called Matt, and I said, okay, I found it. This is what's going to pay the mortgage. I'm going to do doTERRA. And he's like, really? Okay. Don't you think you could like do more photography? Because I did, professional photography for like 20 years. You could do that more, or you could blog more, or you really think that this is going to make money? You tried Pampered Chef one other time, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's different though, I think. I don't know. They say you can make money. So he actually had a friend who was a Blue Diamond at the time that sent him a photo of his check for the month. And he knew that, that would speak to Matt's, provider heart. And he said, oh, it's real money. Like, are you sure that's not just a fake check? And so that $25,000 check was etched in my husband's brain, and that it just clicked for him. He got it. Okay, we're doing it. And we started building in June of 2014, like truly building. We had a handful of orders from before, but in 1 month we hit silver, and the next month we hit gold, diamond in 6 months, blue in 11, and presidential in 22 months. So once we decided to do it, it was on. Like, I don't stop until I'm there. And I think I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, that when you dabble, and Mark said the same thing, you guys were dabbling in doTERRA. Like, let's dip our toe in and see if we get rejected. But if we do, maybe, I don't know, they seem to like it. So you enroll a couple people a month, and you don't create any momentum, none. Like, you just do barely enough to pay for your oils, and you think, this doesn't work. I don't get it. You have to create that massive momentum. And I'm a huge fan of Eric Worre. If you guys have not watched the video on YouTube that he has, and Eric Worre, if you know his book GoPro, his last name is spelled Worre. He has a video. It's called Enroll 20 in 30 Days. And that, if that number seems absurd to you because you're kind of in that dabbling pace right now, just hear me out. He explains the philosophy behind why you have to like hit the throttle really fast in the beginning of your business. Otherwise, you'll never take off. Even if you want to be a part-time person, you have to throttle up. Otherwise, you just run into the trees at the end of the runway. He has this awesome airplane analogy. Okay, so go and watch that, and it will really click for you why you need to not dabble. So that's exactly what we did. We didn't dabble. We jumped right in, and we did a lot of really crazy things. Right up front, we decided we're just going to jump in an RV. Well, we didn't have an RV at the time. So within a week, we had purchased an RV, and because we had gotten off the road, which when, if you've been a traveler, you never truly get off the road. It's in your blood, and you have to just keep going once in a while. So we got another RV, and, within that small time frame, we were really going for it. So in June, we were kind of around the house, hadn't left yet. We were doing classes. And then in July, we hit the road, and we did 8 classes, maybe with people that we knew around the Midwest. We just traveled to who we knew, right? So that's how everyone starts, friends and family, right? Like, who do I know that needs oils? And then I came home, and I sat my butt down in my office, and I don't think I moved for 2 weeks straight. And I enrolled 44 people that month. That's insane. I will never do that again. Okay. But I did. And it was an insane momentum for our business. But this was me, just nonstop. Like, Matt would bring me food, and the kids were destroying the house like monkeys. And it was crazy. But I learned a really valuable lesson in that time, is that, you can have short-term crazy in return for long-term awesome. Okay, so you can be totally out of balance, but look at the long-term scheme. Look at the long-term plan and how awesome your life is going to be in the long term. Okay, so that's a huge point I want to leave you with, is like creating momentum in your business and not being afraid to let things get out of balance and really work at the edges. Anyone who's hit diamond and above in doTERRA, they will tell you that they were at the edge, like literally, right? Like they were pushed beyond a point where they were comfortable, and they did it, and they survived, and the payoffs are immense. Okay, so think about that. We did use our RV as part of our business. We traveled to hit diamond. We traveled to everyone we could think of. Who do we know, and who do the people that we know? Referrals, right? We love referrals. And then to hit blue diamond, we really traveled around and went to our teams that were established, which is kind of all over the country. So we went to all of them. We would hold like 4-day events, and we would really connect and do potlucks and do builder trainings and do all kinds of things. And communicating and really getting face-to-face with your team is a huge part of my message and how to create that connection. You have to be arm in arm, like right with them. And if they're long distance to you, Zoom is really, really a great way to do that. Some major things that happened. I'm gonna kind of skip ahead to kind of talking about some hardships, because in all of this where I'm saying, oh, I enrolled this many people and we had diamond and blue and presidential, it was so easy. You guys should do it too, right? That's not how it goes at all. And never, ever for a minute, don't look at a leader in doTERRA who's a higher rank than you and think that they had it easy, or that, because there's always a story that you don't know. When we left in that RV that we just purchased, we had been spending the last 4 months not knowing we were going to do doTERRA, remodeling, gutting the entire house that we had purchased. And Matt's a contractor, a handyman. He, every day of that previous 4 months had been us remodeling that house. And then we decided pretty much right when it was done that we were going to take off and we're rented out for 9 months so we could go build a doTERRA business. I mean, my parents thought we were crazy. Like, everyone's like, really? You don't want to just stay in your house? So pretty. It's so, like, why? Why would you do that? But we had a greater vision for what our future held, and we knew that it was just time to just go. So we left for 9 months. Right as we were leaving, my youngest daughter, Emma, got diagnosed with a staph infection, like a nasty staph infection in her knee, and we were hospitalized. She was hospitalized for a week. And for a family who's never been in the hospital, like we've never been really to doctors, hospitals, nothing. That was pretty traumatic for us to be in the hospital with her. And that was the month we were hitting silver. But we knew what we had to do. And we pretty much drove the RV out of the hospital parking lot and drove 18 hours to go teach classes like that next week. And so we just knew we had to get there. We would rest along the way. Doctor gave us the okay. It was fine. My mom during that same time was diagnosed with cancer, and huge unknowns with that. Like, praise the Lord, she's totally healed from that. But I'm giving all of that to some little things in these little bottles that I gave her to take, right? And it's amazing to watch that process. But that was a huge stress. Okay, so I'm talking right now about all of you out there that think that you can't do doTERRA because of something's going on in your life that's holding you back. I want you to know that you can do it in the midst of the struggle. Okay, you can keep doing it in the midst of it. You can be in the hospital and you can be diffusing and enrolling all the nurses, right? You can be spreading the amazing message of essential oils within whatever you're doing in your life. Fast forward, all of my kids got hand, foot, mouth disease. So that's I would never wish that on my worst enemy. Okay, we didn't sleep for a week. They all got whooping cough right after that, and they had that for 100 days or something like that. I did not sleep. We were coming up to hitting diamond. I didn't sleep for pretty much the entire month. Didn't sleep. So I'm taking care of these children that are up all night puking from coughing so much. Okay, bless you if you've ever gone through whooping cough with children, right? And then hitting diamond and realizing all right, nothing's gonna stop us. And it turned out that our struggle really is our message. And that's what you guys have the ability to do, is to walk through these different struggles in your life and really understanding that someone needs to hear that you went through it and survived it and still were able to be successful and create a future for your family. So those are some of the kind of the things that we went through. And looking back, yeah, it wasn't easy, but we did it, and that's how you look back on all these struggles that you might be going through right now. You can do it. You can absolutely do it. A phrase that we like to use in our team is, you can still run while you cry. You can still run while you cry. You can just you see your dream out there and you fall down, you get back up, you keep crying, but at least you're moving forward, right? And it's okay to do that. A lot of people think that once they fall down, they just got to lay there and cry. But are you going to bounce, or are you going to splat? You got to bounce back up. And that's really, a true leader they're the people that bounce back up fast and keep on going, instead of like all the bits of their life are splattered all over and it takes them longer to get back up. Some of the main things that like we've had happen since starting doTERRA, I like to share those good things, right? So there's all the crazy things that happen in doTERRA, but here's some good things, right? My husband got to quit his soul-sucking job, right? Mark gets that, right? It wasn't his passion. It wasn't his, he was trained as a youth pastor and a worship pastor, and that's his passion. Well, when we were on the road and we were coming off the road, we were just looking to make money. We were out of money. Like after 4 years full-time on the road, that last stop being like California will suck the money out of you. Sorry if anyone lives there, but it will, especially when you're on the road. And we get this job offer, like we have to take it. It turned into this, well, maybe we'll go to Colorado to make some money, turned into 4 years and Matt buying that business from my brother. And that's a long time to feel like, gosh, are we really going to give this up? But we did. And it was the most important decision we made. We actually, gosh, when we were gold, basically walked away from that and let an operations person take care of it, and really didn't pull any income from that, and went on the road because we knew that the payout and the benefits of building our doTERRA business together was going to go so much faster when he was there to support the kids. And, while I was on calls and all of that, because there were some crazy times when he was working 80 hours a week when I was going for silver and gold, that like, I get it, you guys, those of you who have spouses or partners that are working full time, you're like, I don't even know how to fit this in. You have tons of kids, and you can fit it into all those little gaps. We now, because of this, we do have, we're paying off student loans. We're paying off a lot of business debt that came along with Matt not being at his business. We did actually have a guy that was going to buy it, but it fell through at the last minute. All those life things that happen. But now we have hope that like probably within a year or, even less, that debt will all be gone and it'll be completely free. And without doTERRA, there's no way it would have taken us like 10 years to do that. We've had the chance to travel outside the U.S. Everyone assumes that we've traveled everywhere because we've been to all the states, but we've not really traveled that much overseas. So when we went to Jamaica, that was the first time, and we won it. So that was even more awesome. And that was a free trip to Jamaica. We've not left our kids ever in 11 years, ever. I mean, this was crazy, like together. And I had left maybe for 1 or 2 days, and he had left maybe for like separately, but we'd never been on a vacation together. And so that just shifted everything for us. And I had huge visions of what our life could be at that point. And there was a little seed that got planted into my brain that I need to live on an island. And that's what I'm going to do. So that seed got planted, those couple years ago, and then going to Dominican this last year and realizing, dream is still there. Yep. And having, what I call some God meetings in Dominican, like how did you even cross my path? We need to pursue this. So, that's our next step, is to looking at spending, half the year or more on a tropical island somewhere. So this is all like just because a few things happened within our business, and really back in the beginning, when I first started, my upline is, we're all in the same family. If you don't know, we're under the Goddards as well, but Kelly Anderson and Heather Matter are my upline. And Kelly was living in Hawaii at the time and doing mission work, but also working her doTERRA business. And my upline said to me, well, one of our upline actually lives in Hawaii. I'm like, yeah, right. Then like, she does her business from Hawaii. And I just, whatever. And I just completely dismissed it. And at the same time thought, I wonder if I could do that. And, thinking all along, like that's in the back of my head planted, like, wow, maybe we could do that someday. And so don't ignore those little promptings and those little intuitive nudges that you get that this could be my life, because it's there for a reason. And when you feel like quitting, don't quit, because it's there. It's always been there. This year, our kids get to travel to Cancun with us, which is going to be fun. We haven't taken them to anywhere like that. And so it's going to be really amazing to be able to have them experience that with us. I know I'm running out of time here. I want to fast forward to some important things here. What do you want, Chantal? Do you want me to, I want this to be the best for your team. I know that you had asked some questions about.
Well, maybe we'll just dive into some questions now. And Mark, I know you're still on, so maybe the two of you can tag team a little bit. I know one of the questions that I'm sure is burning in everybody's mind is just simply, kind of the how-to. 20 people in a month, like you've got to be kidding. So just, is it really simply going and having a class and the one person that might show up, you enroll and hope that they know someone? What's your recipe? Perhaps that's one of the things that I know a lot of people just on a practical level would be curious to know.
Sure. I can start with that, and Mark can follow up if he wants. It really just comes down to doing income producing activities really well. And, we're big fans of the Share Success program when we use that in our tribe. And really it talks about the pipes. Okay. And the pipes are all of those income producing. So you have prepare, and then you have invite, you have present, enroll, and support. And those that invite. So you have to be inviting tons of people all throughout the month, and you have to have lots of classes for them to plug into so you can present, and then you have to enroll them. Okay, so what that looks like on a practical level is, are you enrolling 2 to 5 people a week? If you enroll 2 to 5 people a week, that's enrolling 8 to 20 people a month. And really that comes from just having 2 classes a week. Now, when I used to have part-time jobs, if I worked 2 nights a week, that was considered pretty part-time, right? And so it's really what I tell my team is, if you can treat this like a real job and you work this, anywhere from, I say at least 10, if you're serious, through about 20 hours a week, and you spend that teaching consistently. All the diamonds on our team have taught consistently 2 classes a week. Or the equivalent one-on-ones, right? You don't have to do all classes. You can do one-on-ones as well. But it's consistency, and it's host coaching like crazy so that you have the best odds, right? Like giving people samples before classes, making sure that, you're trying to connect with everyone coming to the class even before they walk through that door. There's so many things you can do to set yourself up for success. And making sure that your host feels valued and seen, and they're not going to cancel on you if you're in constant communication with them. So that's really the first step. And then just really being confident in teaching and having a really strong closing. And there's so many amazing tools. If you guys haven't checked out, like sharesuccess.com/launch, there's a ton of videos, and there's one called 6 Questions for Closing. It's phenomenal. And it really has helped our team get more confident in not being pushy when it comes to helping your customers or your potential customers decide what they want to order. It's a series of questions that you're asking them. So getting really confident in closing is going to do what? It's going to up your enrollments so that you have a higher percentage of enrolling. So if you guys are like, gosh, I teach a lot of people, but I don't enroll nearly that much, find out what your enrollment percentage is. And if you guys are really teaching a ton of people and not enrolling, you can know really fast that it's something in your class. Either your class is too long, your class is too scientific, you might just be boring. Like, let's own up to the fact that you got to be fun. The classes have to be fun. If your people aren't laughing and having a good time at your class, like, nobody's going to want to book another class with you. So figure that out. That's easy to figure out. You can come up with all kinds of little funny one-liners that your peers are using and really nail your class so that you get those enrollments. And then following up, doing some sort of wellness consult, because if you're not getting your people on LRP and you're not asking them if they're interested in creating an income with doTERRA, you're stuck. And there's a reason why you're stuck, and it's because you're not doing those things. You're not doing just the protocol that we all need to do. You enroll, and then you do a wellness consult, and then you help them see the value in LRP. So hopefully that gives you some practical steps.
Awesome.
Mark wants to add anything, but
maybe Mark, you could speak just briefly a little bit to the scenario where a lot of people feel like their warm market is either insufficient, dried up, not interested. Where do you go? How do you identify where to transition that type of productivity? Where do you go?
Yeah, I love the thought that was shared at the Network Marketing Mastermind event a few years ago in that regard. And it was just simply the idea of that reflected ultimately each of our individual clarity and how we're approaching the business. And that would be one where if we are not clear, we're going to be saying, tell me what to do, tell me how to find people. Versus when we become clear, then we say, how can I find people? Where can I find them? And what is going to stop me ultimately from doing that? Or what am I going to get through now that's going to get me there? And I am convinced that those who want true, significant success in this business, it requires that each of us get out of our warm market. Use your warm market, take advantage of it, make the most of it. But I truly believe that in order to be inspiring and to show up like a real leader, that means you're getting out there beyond that. You're pressing beyond those limits that you're currently set at, and you're getting beyond it. Just like Sarah touched on, like, you've got to press. You've got to become something more than what you have been if you want to create different results.
Would you recommend the booth pathway?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a way. Like I said, we were too scared to talk to friends and family. And so that was the way we did it. And we ultimately built to Diamond with nobody that we knew prior to doTERRA. That's changed it a bit now at this point in our business, but that's somewhat unique for us. And it just goes to show it doesn't really matter. Like, there are a lot of ways to be successful in our business, but what does matter is that you are clear and you are defining and refining yourself as a leader in this process, and you are anxious to receive the growth and the education that will come through your experience so that you can up level and move forward.
Wonderful. I feel like you guys have given us a lot of nuggets to chew on. I just wanted to put out one more request. If there's anybody who has a question that we want to take live, I was going through the questions that I had for each of you, and I feel like you answered them all. It's been very powerful. I know that it's a scary thing to be sitting on the edge of success but not there yet, and feeling like maybe doTERRA is running out of steam, or maybe compliancy is, that's become a hurdle, or maybe we need to do, maybe we need to revamp our blog again, or whatever it is that we kind of keep getting caught in. And maybe you could just give us one final shot in the arm. And I see Shauna asked a favorite oil, if anybody wants to give us a clarity on that. But just one final thought on why doTERRA, why now? And I know you've done a lot of that, but maybe just one last final thought.
Sure, I can answer that first. I think, I don't know if it's why doTERRA, why now, but I want to give you just a closing thought on how to get out of a slump or feeling stuck. And that is to just dive in 100% to personal development. It's a huge focus on our team, and everyone who hits a new rank has had a burst of, emotional shifting and really hitting that upper limit and busting right through it. And it takes some people less time than others, but it's a huge focus for us. So if you are not currently spending at least 30 minutes on yourself daily, reading at least 10 pages a day in a book that's growing your mind and opening your mind to new ways of thinking, that's the first place to start, because your business is only going to grow as much as you grow. So if you feel stagnant and stuck and you're not growing, that's exactly where your business is going to be. And then as soon as you start to grow, you become like this shining light, because you can't hold all that newfound knowledge in, and people are going to look at you and they're going to say, I want that. I want what she has. I need that. I don't know what it is, but I need that. And you won't even have to say anything, and they're going to want to know what's different about you. And so attracting builders by just being authentic in yourself and shining as bright as possible, which means too that you have to actually tell people about this business. And if you're not attracting builders, ask yourself if you're sharing a powerful story in your class and you're getting out there. A practical answer to the question you asked before, like, we don't do a ton of booths, but we do tons of meetup groups. And our team has found amazing, powerful builders getting into entrepreneur type groups. Like there's a group called Powerful Women in Michigan that, there's just different groups that you can get into that you can meet people you don't know. And stop trying to make lists of people you need to contact on your list that you've checked off 10 times and, you're contacting the same people over and over. It has to be new people, but you have to actually leave the house. So you have to get out there and you have to rub elbows and you have to go to the park and the grocery store and wear oils and smell good, and be smiling and happy, and you will attract people. And once you attract builders that are moving at the same pace as you, magic, I'm telling you. It's magic. And if you've never had a builder that's as excited as you, they're coming. They're coming, okay? Because you're going to grow and you're going to start attracting those people, and your mind will be blown. You won't have to do it on your own anymore. So, the end.
Wow.
Or maybe you have found builders that are as energetic as you, and you realize, I need more energetic builders. So look in the mirror and ask yourself, how am I showing up in 1 to 10 as a leader? And what does that look like? And I would absolutely echo what Sarah said in terms of personal development, whether it's reading books or listening to audio or going to events. And then just make sure that you make it real for you, that you put it into action, that you take those ideas, whether it be 1 or 2 key ideas, and you say, how am I going to take a step forward with this information so that it becomes part of you and you own it and it comes through you that way. And best recommended books, somebody asked, I would say there are a lot. And it really kind of depends on where you're at and what you personally are struggling with. I could certainly point you in the direction of different ones based on whatever it feels like you're hitting up against. Ones that I often recommend as a foundational one is How to Win Friends and Influence People. Probably one of the hokiest named books ever, but just foundational in terms of understanding interpersonal dynamics and how to build trust with people. And when we build trust with people, they're going to take action on what we share with them. And when they take action, then we can open up new doors. First, it's just the oils, then it's the business opportunity, and then we move forward. And going back to another question, when your circle seems to dry up, look for ways to snowball through the people that you are working with. Ask yourself how you can work through your contacts to make more contacts. And again, the more trust you have established there, the greater ability you will have to do that. One story that we have is a leader that or a team member that we met on an airplane ride coming home from our first incentive trip. We followed up with about a year and a half later. That's how awesome we are. Really on top of things. Through that leader, we found another leader, and through that leader, we found another leader. That person themselves was not a leader and did not choose to be a leader, but they opened the doorway to us to finding other people because we asked the questions. We asked the questions that would open up that possibility and get them thinking, do you know anybody else who would benefit from or value what we're sharing? Elaborating on booths, I could do a whole call on that topic alone. There's a lot of things that we've learned. Obviously, I touched on it a little bit. The biggest thing there is just saying, the biggest thing there I would say is just what can I create in this moment right now? As if I will never see this person ever again. And if you think in those terms and say, in what scenario will this person take action? Which again, that would apply to a class setting just as well as a booth setting. But what right here, right now, could I bring this person through the door? Could I engage them in a meaningful way that then I have something to follow up with other than just a name and a phone number that I'm going to randomly try and catch up with this person again and hope that they remember the experience and the fire that they felt here in this moment. Sorry, rambling a little bit.
Awesome.
It's an exciting thing to be able to share with you and visit with you tonight. Thank you for the opportunity, Chantal. Great to hear from you, Sarah. Thanks for supporting our team by imbuing the doTERRA culture of cross-team connecting and supporting. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you again, everybody. Before we go, of course, we have the grand finale of giveaways. And I want to just thank you all for your willingness to commit to being on all 5 calls. I know some of you have really sacrificed your Monday evenings just to make a priority. So we do have some amazing prizes to give away tonight. And Philomena has had it, but she's going to help get through the giveaways anyway. So first up, Peter's here too. So you guys, he's the names. Got all the names in there.
It's legitimate.
So we have first up a bottle of Serenity. Totally awesome. Philomena's going to pull it. Choose one. Actually, you do it, Pop.
I'm going to have to pull it.
He's going to pull it.
I can't read that.
Julie Wilson. Congratulations, Julie. Make sure you text me your information so I can send it out right away and not even have to look up on back office.
Thanks.
The next one is a personal visit by Mark Garrett, who will fly out to you for 3 days. Thank you, Mark.
No, let's see. Up next, we've got Citrus Bliss. Awesome. We're going for 5 giveaways tonight because we told you we would do that for the fifth event. So Citrus Bliss goes to?
I can't read these.
Shauna Aubin. Thank you so much, Shauna. And Shauna, by the way, you guys, enrolled her first person today. So that's totally awesome. She's on her way, and she has classes already booked and one-on-one slated. I'm so proud of her. So the next couple of items I have are unique. This one I have left over. This is an actual sample bottle, not for resale, but I can give it away. It's a sample of doTERRA Protective Handguard from Leadership. So this is kind of valuable because you can't get this. So I'm going to give that one away. And that goes to Coral Darrow. Woohoo! Awesome, Coral. Thanks again for being on and for being such an awesome host this last week. I just got back from her house in Tucson, and she's got some major potential, folks. It's about ready to explode. Same thing. This was given to us at Leadership. This is a book on the 4 principles of financial principles, and it's the doTERRA edition, which is special. So you can't get this anywhere else. And this is all about just helping to build healthy finances and keeping in mind how to build this business while at the same time not overextending ourselves and being smart. Let's see, that goes to Tisa Bailey. All right, and then the grand finale, you guys, and this one is super precious. We have Jasmine, and it's full. It's totally full. You can't get Jasmine unless you earn it. And so this is just this little treasure, 5/8 quarter drum full of jasmine. What's the value on that, do you think, Mark? That's got to
be. What's the size on it?
It's a 5/8 drum.
50 milliliters?
No.
Yeah. That's probably Gosh, I don't know. Is it like, I'm trying to think, is it like 300 is a 5 mil?
Right?
So that's probably 100.
Woohoo! So this is a big deal, you guys. I've been waiting for a special moment to pass this along.
Mark's shaking his head like,
all right.
I can't believe they're doing it.
I know. It's totally nuts. Whatever get you to hear Mark and Sarah. All right, here we go.
Oh, wait,
One at a time.
One at a time.
All right. And this one goes, oh, wait, you can't do, that was a double. Sorry. Somebody doubled. Can't do that. Nope, not giving a double. Somebody doubled. Here we go. Oh, that's another double. They got double entry for bringing people on. So, okay. Got to get somebody else.
All right.
Sorry. Somebody new. Stephanie. Holy cow. Way to go. Stephanie's our rock star enroller. She's enrolled, I don't know, so many with huge kits. She's really doing an awesome job. We're super excited. Stephanie, I'm going to hand deliver that to you when you book your class with me next. So let me know and we'll set it up. So awesome. All right. Thank you all so much for being on. We're very appreciative. And obviously we've paused the series to get ready for convention. If anybody's still looking to go to convention, events move you and change you. So there's still tickets available. And I know there's at least a good handful of you that don't have tickets. So if you can make some arrangements in your life just for a few days, convention will definitely rock your boat and change your world. So
leaders get team members to convention without a doubt.
All right.
You want your business to grow and be inspired? Get people to show up at convention on your team.
Awesome. We will do that. Mark, thanks again so much, and we look forward to being the first of many opportunities.
Thank you.
Yep. Anybody who wants to stay on and chat can, but this is officially over for now, and we'll just let it go from here. Thanks again, Mark.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Mark.
it.
You're awesome.